It's time! And now, introducing your host, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Boston, Massachusetts, presenting live
the Bostonian versus the Book. Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the Book.
Here he is, Matt Perrault!
Enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show.
Hey guys, how are you? Welcome into a Wednesday episode of the Bostonian versus the Book. We call it BVB. My name's Matt Peralta. We are live on YouTube and X. It is at Boston versus the Book. Sports Grid. You guys got the replay late night. Thanks for staying up with us. 1 a.m. Eastern time, 10 p.m. Pacific time. I know there was a little issue with the audio last night, but we got that fixed. Apologies to you guys if you were watching last night. There was a little bit of a back-end issue. We've hopefully fixed that. And audio podcasts, wherever you guys get your audio podcasts. Today in the program, I want to do a little bit of a deep dive on what's going on in the sports world, gambling-wise, because it's no longer just a sports conversation. I think people were having gambling fatigue for maybe the last year. I would hear from friends of mine. I would hear from Amanda, my girlfriend. I'd hear from people who are around like, man, like, why is it every game? Why is it every pregame show? Why is every show, when they clearly don't know about betting, why are they giving out bets? Why is everyone constantly talking about gambling where they weren't recently 5 years ago, right? Gambling always existed. People around me will always say that, like, Matt, you've been betting. Gambling's been going on for a long time. You ask, when was the first time you made a sports bet? 18. I'm 48, 30 years. I've been doing this. So it's not new. Gambling's not new. The acceptance of gambling is new. But then I think something happened on Sunday that I don't want to talk about it on Monday and Tuesday because we had obviously a lot of football to get to from the weekend and the Steelers and then Mike Tomlin yesterday. And we will talk about those situations and the 9 jobs that are open in the NFL. But the Golden Globes did something on Sunday that I think is a canary in the coal mine that we got to be aware of and we got to talk about, because we're entering into a space now where I think people are going to start to rebel, reject, and really start to have a problem with the idea that everything has to be bet on and everything has to be sponsored and everything has to be talking about betting. And yes, prediction markets are betting. That is sports gambling. I don't care what type of lipstick you want to put on the pig. It is still a pig, okay? It is still sports betting. I don't care how much you want to dress it up. Prediction markets are sports gambling. And Sunday night, that's a pretty big award show. I know it was opposite a football game, and people were like, why would you do that? Well, the ratings for the Patriots game against the Chargers was the lowest rated game of all 6 of the games. It was the lowest rated. And the reason was, for a variety of reasons, the casuals were flipping around and watching the Golden Globes because that's a big awards show. And if you like pop culture, you were watching the Golden Globes. So, excuse me. So, opening line, we'll be on that here in just 1 second. But before we do that, I want to make a little bit of an announcement that we're pretty excited. I'm excited about because it came together pretty quickly and I'm still working out all of the exact details on this. However, I can announce that for the 4th time in the history of this show, we will be live from Radio Row in San Francisco. This is going to be at least 2 shows and maybe a 3rd, but most likely not a live show on Sports Grid or live show, a replay on Sports Grid, but maybe a different type of program on Wednesday afternoon. Pacific time Wednesday afternoon, maybe a night show Wednesday night, depending upon what's going to happen. So this is the schedule for the next couple of weeks. Next week, we are here for all 5 days, okay? All 5 days. Next week, we're wide open here. The following week, the last week of January, I am going to New Orleans with Betting Pros for our annual trip. The company takes everybody to a location every year to say thank you for the football season, to kind of let everyone decompress and then like preview for the next year, talk about the next 2026, like what the Daily Juice will look like going forward. So I'm not going to be live. I got to see about my flight on Wednesday. I think we're off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of the last week. That's the bye week between the championship games and the Super Bowl. Okay, so I'm going to be off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then I will go to San Francisco on Wednesday morning of the week of the Super Bowl. So Wednesday, most likely something from Radio Row Wednesday afternoon. Thursday, Friday, live from Radio Row. We will be there for 2-hour shows, both on Thursday and on Friday. Thursday, for the first time ever, in person with me, Adam Bjorn is going to co-host BVB with me for BetCris Arizona Thursday from the Super Bowl. So I'm super excited to do it with Adam, to have him be there on Thursday. Friday, I don't know yet what will happen on Friday. There is a chance that we'll have another co-host, a different co-host with me on Friday from Radio Row. I'll be there guaranteed, but we are already booking guests. We are already getting rolling for this, and this is going to be a lot of fun to have the Super Bowl being covered for the fourth time. When there are West Coast Super Bowls, more likely than not, I will be there. So we booked the hotel yesterday. We booked the flight yesterday. We've got the broadcast location, and it's all set up for us to be in San Francisco for Radio Row for 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But most likely there won't be a BVB on Wednesday. But I will say this. There's going to be an opportunity. There's going to be an opportunity for something unique on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of the last week of January. I'm efforting to do some best ofs. I'm efforting to do some like video on demand stuff. So the show most likely will be live. There will be a BVB. It just won't be live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for the last week of January. So stay tuned to how that's going to all kind of play out. But I'm efforting to do 3 shows, so there's not a gap for BVB. We're going to have shows, and then there will be a Sports Grid replay and everything. So it's just a very big, important week. So once we have the Super Bowl, I want to tape a bunch of interviews and put a bunch of stuff together for the show. So it's going to be a really chaotic couple of weeks for me, starting in the last week of January. I go to New Orleans, then I go to San Francisco. Then later in the month, in February, I'm going to Florida. So we're going to take some time off to go and decompress before the March Madness crazy starts. So we're going to do that at the end of February for a couple of days. And then it just kind of snowballs. The whole year, I can't believe 26 is going to happen like it's going to happen, because you guys are going to see it. We're going to be doing BVB, and I'm going to be all over the place. Like, I'm going to be doing content in, like, as of right now. So that would be Louisiana, California, Nevada, Florida, New Hampshire. It's going to be a pretty unique year. So it's just kind of how things have unfolded and how things have been laid together, but very excited to have this coming up here to do a BetCris Arizona branded show on Thursday from the Super Bowl with Adam Bjorn actually live with us in person coming up. So very excited to have this whole thing come out. Hopefully, if you're in the area, if you're going to be there, come by, say hi, find the broadcast table, come by. Who knows who's going to stop by? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, I'll be here. I'll be in Vegas doing the show Monday and Tuesday of the week of the Super Bowl. And then we'll head on up it's a quick flight. It's an hour flight from Vegas to San Francisco. So pretty quick to get up there to be a part of it. So I cannot wait. I think it's going to be an absolute awesome experience. If the Patriots are there, I'm going to be losing my mind. Like, you know, somebody offered, you know, and this always changes, but like, you know, someone's like, do you want to talk to this former quarterback? And it's a former Patriot quarterback. And I'm like, yeah, of course we want to talk to that former Patriot quarterback. But if the Patriots are in it, having a former Patriot quarterback during the week of the Patriots is going to be mind-blowing. Are the Patriots going to get there? I don't know. They'll probably lose to the Texans this weekend. But regardless, it's the Super Bowl. But I've never covered it with my team there. So if the Patriots are there, I'm going to lose my mind. And you know, there's a shot. That's all you can ask for. There's a shot for the Patriots to get to the Super Bowl in San Francisco. And if it's the Patriots and the Rams in San Francisco, I'll go crazy. Like, I'll just jump up and down. It'll be, you know, I will be in the best mood for, you know, 72 hours. No, I don't go to the game, in case you're curious. No, I don't do that. But I go to Radio Row and we go and hang out. We do a bunch of fun things. My brother lives in Oakland. So, you know, that's going to be fun to kind of have him be around. And so there's a lot of cool things happening. And I'm very excited about this opportunity to do this. And who knows? There's going to be Friday. I don't know who's co-hosting as yet, but Thursday, the co-host will be Adam Bjorn. Friday, Wednesday will just be me, but it may just be on our Discord channel. I may just do a video Discord channel chat to set the scene for Radio Row, for what it's like and what am I seeing and what are we talking about and what's the vibe and what's the overall interest level. I mean, we've done it in Los Angeles. We've done it in Phoenix. We've done it in Vegas, and now the show will be live from San Francisco next year, going back to LA again. So like, we're in this very nice pattern of West Coast Super Bowls. So it lets us do the show from these locations very easily. Last year was New Orleans, too difficult. I mean, if it's going to be anywhere, I think east of Chicago, I would probably say the show is not going to be airing live from Radio Row anytime soon. But luckily, we're in this pattern of West Coast Super Bowls. So San Francisco, we're going to be there. I'll be very surprised if the show is not there next year. By the way, next year, did you know next year's Super Bowl is on Valentine's Day? Have you guys looked at that? I've been planning these things out for, like, you know, I'm trying to be a grown up. Okay. I'm trying to be a grown up with this show and actually have like real grown up things like projections, like plans, and saying like, where is this show going to be in 1 year, and like laying out every month about what we're going to do and what we're going to accomplish and what are the goals. So like, it's going from Super Bowl to Super Bowl on this, like, you know, vision board that I've got. So I've gone and looked at the Los Angeles Super Bowl for 2027. It's on Valentine's Day. How in the world is America going to function with the Super Bowl on Valentine's Day in Los Angeles? Like, what do you tell your girlfriend? Like, what do you tell if you're a 25-year-old guy and you've been dating a girl for like 3 months? What do you tell the girl that, hey, by the way, I can't do anything on Valentine's Day because I've got the Super Bowl? Like, because Galentine's Day, which my daughter and I laugh about all the time because she knows I hate Valentine's Day and that I hate Galentine's Day even more than I hate Valentine's Day. I hate them both. But she's like, well, does that mean like everyone's going to do everything on the Saturday, on the 13th? Because the 15th is supposed to be when the girls go and hang out for Galentine's Day, right? So what's the 13th going to be? It's a mess. Like, we've never seen this before. It's the latest I've ever seen the Super Bowl on Valentine's Day 2027. You just don't see it like this. This is late. Really, really late. So like, I mean, whoo boy, this is going to be very funny to see how this whole thing goes out. Because you know all the restaurants on Saturday night are going to be jam full for Valentine's Day, so they're going to be charging everything extra on the 13th, like we know. But if you're in sports, every guy who's out there covering the Super Bowl is like, hey, I'm going to LA. Sorry. I'm going to LA. I can't be around. I can't be a part of this. So just FYI, just keep that for 1 year in your mind, that next year's Super Bowl will be on Sunday, February the 14th. In Los Angeles for that event. Unreal. But This year, San Francisco, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday, no show live, most likely, but I'll go up there Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, live, Radio Row, 2 shows, 2 hours, a ton of fun, a ton of interviews. Looking forward to all of it. And hopefully no travel problems, like knock on wood, no travel problems. But the week before that, going to New Orleans, we'll have some other time. You know, the Daily Juice will be done in New Orleans. I'll be there with Betting Pros. A live BVB won't be there, but there'll be a video on demand BVB that will drop. I got to learn a bit about YouTube. I got to learn a little bit about like how to schedule events and schedule drops of videos. It's going to be like a real YouTube channel. Like a video is going to drop at 1:00 Eastern time for BVB on that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It just won't be me live. I'll be here, but physically I'll be in New Orleans. So like that's looking forward to doing all of that. I know we're going to a Pelicans game one night. I know there's like a whole laundry list of things. Like it's like the Betting Pros version of a convention, like everybody from all over the country. It's fun when you work for a virtual company because that's what Betting Pros is. There's no actual like home base. Everybody is remote. And so you get everybody together in one room and it's wild because you've been talking to these people over Zoom type conversations, StreamYard and whatnot for the better part of a year. And you haven't physically seen them for a year. So it was here in Vegas last year. So I got kind of ripped off a bit. Now I get to travel and get to go to one of my favorite cities in America. I've said it before. I've got 3 favorite cities outside of Boston in America. I love New Orleans. I love Las Vegas and I love Nashville. And we went to Nashville last year for the Kentucky show, which I don't think we'll go back there because they built the VSiN studio. But if we ever go back to Kentucky, I'd love to go back to Nashville and back to Kentucky with Circa. And then obviously I live in Vegas and now we've got New Orleans coming up, which is funny because the last time I was in New Orleans was on my honeymoon. That was the last time I was there, which was in 2013. So that was a minute ago. 12 years since I've been down there to New Orleans. So looking forward to jumping back over there to the Crescent City, right? As they call it, with New Orleans. So very fun stuff coming up. Opening line, guys, we're in gambling. This is getting to be the danger zone in my mind after what happened on Sunday. It is time for the opening line being brought to you by our friends at Huel. Today was a great representation about what exactly happened to me today. I have had nothing in my body and no time to drink anything except one of these ready-made Huel shakes. Why? I'm busy. I'm running around like crazy. This is the 3rd show that I have done today. I have got interviews and meetings and things that I'm running around with and trying to do. And this stuff in my fridge is a lifesaver because I need calories. Look, I'm half Italian. You guys have seen me before. I jump up and down. I use my voice. I use my hands. I burn energy when I'm on the show. I need to have something from a food perspective before I go on the air and talk for an hour and a half. Huel is what I use more often than not. Limited time offer right now. They've got the high protein starter kit, which you can purchase online with the code BVB20 for 20% off. For new customers only at Huel.com/BVB20. If you like QR codes and you want to go directly with your phone, you can do that. Huel, that QR code right there, will take you to our special page, Huel.com/BVB20, to save 20% off your order. Again, if you are somebody who's looking to up your protein intake, you're looking to drop weight, if you're looking to bulk up, this stuff is tremendous. It is hard to eat right. It is hard to get the proper nutrition, and Huel can help you with your fitness goals as we start 2026. As we know, what you put in your body is so important. That's where the name Huel comes from. It is human fuel. We're talking about 35 plus grams of protein in the ready to drink bottles. If you do the protein, which I do at oftentimes, that is 40 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, gluten-free. It is vegan, no artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors. Talking about under $5 per meal. Huel.com/BVB20 for 20% off, or hit that QR code on the screen right now. The sports betting industry has been, since Athens, has been about taking bets. I believe I know and I'm going to predict the future. So I'm going to put dollars behind what may happen in this boxing event, this running event, this soccer game, football game, basketball game, whatever it might be, right? We've been doing this for a very long time. Legalization is now being targeted by people who are sick to death of being inundated with sports gambling content. We have seen it in almost every walk of life now, where sports gambling is part of it. I saw a headline on an article a couple of days ago. Legalization was a mistake. I don't believe legalizing sports gambling was a mistake. I believe that taking anything out of the black market and making it legalized, taxed, and policed makes it safer for anyone who would like to do it. I don't believe that making things illegal that are vices is a good idea. I think it just creates more problems for you, and it also creates sort of a government police state where you're able to dictate, arrest, and prosecute people if they are doing said vice. So addiction has always existed. I mean, humans have been addicted to things for a very long time, and people's personalities, some people are more likely to be addicted to things than others. But I'm a big believer in letting adults do adult things, and because 99% of the population can handle it, but 1% can't, well, I don't think alcohol should be illegal. I don't think cannabis should be illegal. I don't think prostitution should be illegal. Okay. I don't think sports gambling should be illegal. These are all vices. But even me, who is on that side of things, even me who believes in, the being anti-prohibition on almost everything, I have now come to the realization that we're in trouble. Because what happened on Sunday with Polymarket in the Golden Globes, I think has set us on a path that I'm not sure we're going to be able to come back from. This is an award show that on Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern, the markets were closed. You could not bet anymore on Polymarket as to who was going to win the Golden Globe for whatever category, best actor or best supporting actor, whatever it might be. But on screen and during every commercial outro, you saw on the screen the odds and the big voice announcers talking about the odds in a very uneducated way. It wasn't well done. It was clunky. It didn't make people want to be a part of this. But this is what people saw on their screen. This was original song, 87% of the bets on Polymarket coming in on Golden, K-pop Demon Hunters, which did win, by the way. Headline was very typical. Golden Globes slammed as cringe, as the kids call it, for plugging Polymarket betting during the Golden Globes broadcast. And it wasn't once, it wasn't twice, it was every single category. Every time they were going to make an award presentation, the Polymarket odds had been on screen before. This angered a lot of people. The Golden Globes Best Podcast odds presented by Polymarket is a new low for this humiliating award show, as the editor-in-chief of a leading entertainment magazine wrote on Twitter, with Good Hang with Amy Poehler, which won. The Mel Robbins podcast came in second. Smartless. These are podcasts that I don't know much about. I do know Mel Robbins only from Instagram and her incessant posting of content on Instagram, which I commend. But that was the prevailing opinion, that this was a new low. According to Craig Perot, that's how my last name is supposed to be spelled, by the way, but we changed it. I told that story before. The president of the Golden Globes, quote, "Our partnership with Polymarket unlocks a groundbreaking new frontier, redefining how audiences engage with and connect to the content they love. Deepening the connection between fans and their favorite films, shows, and actors strengthens the entertainment industry and highlights the award-winning content celebrated at the Golden Globes." What in the holy hell does that have to do with gambling? Okay, let's just play this out. So you're telling me that people are going to be more interested in the Golden Globes if they have money on the category. Well, no bleep, Sherlock. Yeah, we know that. The question is not if people will do it, not if people are interested in putting down money on these markets. It's should you be doing this? Not just that it's happening. Should you be in bed with Polymarket? Because are you opening up the idea for impropriety and inappropriate and or illegal activity by doing this? Remember, no one cares about the Price Waterhouse geek who gets to hold on to the envelope until that envelope is potentially compromised. Then they care. Then it becomes a problem. But in reality, if it leaks out that so-and-so won Best Actor before the actual award ceremony, do we really care? We don't really care unless there's money being bet on it. Then we care. Then it becomes an illegal act. Then it becomes something nefarious. And an award show is really fixable, like really, really fixable. And there's beginning to be more and more things out there that are fixable, that you could actually, not like fixable in a good way, meaning altered, controlled, dictated to, manipulated. This is not good. And the public is paying attention. The public is not happy about this. The Polymarket ads are so cringe, Hunger Game BS. The encouragement of gambling across all forms of American, quote, entertainment is such an ends of time indicator. We're so deep into capitalism that the Golden Globes are showing Polymarket betting odds on award winners. We're so cooked. The Polymarket plug on the Golden Globe broadcast is, oh, cringe face. The public doesn't want this. I don't want this. And I'm a sports bettor and I'm a gambler, okay? But the public is getting sick to death of us. And they're getting sick to death of FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, Polymarket, Kalshi, all of it. And they're linking them all. Nobody can tell the difference between a betting market, a sports betting market, and what's happening on the prediction markets. They're all the same. The public, they're all just three different forms of ducks, okay? They're just like, okay, that one quacks, that one flies, that one swims. They're all ducks, okay? And the public is beginning to ask the right questions. Who is regulating this stuff? Who is paying attention? Who is in charge of seeing this? And why are we allowing advertising on everything? So when my 10-year-old, 11-year-old daughter is watching the Golden Globes with me and she loves award ceremonies and she asks, what's Polymarket? My daughter knows what I do. My daughter understands betting. She's pretty well educated in gambling. But how many kids who are 11, whose dad is on a sports gambling content creator, look to their mom and dad while watching the Golden Globes and asked, what's Polymarket? We're not asking for much here. I think we're asking for adults to just understand that we don't need betting on everything. And it's starting to become a big problem. And I think more and more people are starting to ask the right questions about what's going on, because in comes this. Kalshi is signing Bryson DeChambeau as the first athlete endorser. The deal will include a TV commercial, social media posts, live appearances, and the launch of markets on events in which he plays in. So the guy in the event doing the thing you can bet on has a financial tie to the market, to the company that controls the market. We haven't seen an athlete endorse Kalshi yet, and now Bryson DeChambeau has become the first celebrity endorser for whatever events he plays in, and he plays in major golf championships. We're going into everything. We're going into all walks, and nobody is paying attention. Nobody is asking whether or not we should be doing this. Should we be allowing these things to happen? Active players, not former players, not John Hamm, not, actors, current players. It's the same question people had with LeBron James when he did the DraftKings deal. It was like, are we comfortable with this? Are we comfortable with LeBron James doing this? Are we comfortable with football players doing this? Are we comfortable with basketball players doing this? Now, are we comfortable in the prediction market world where insider trading is somewhat encouraged? Now, Kalshi claims that they don't allow it, but Polymarket claims they do. So which is it? Are we allowing insider trading or are we not? Because Bryson would have a pretty damn good idea as to what Bryson would do, right? Because Bryson can dictate it. So if there's a market on Bryson to shoot 70 in the final round of the Masters, and Bryson doesn't want to do that, he wants to shoot either lower or higher, hey, I'm going to go shoot 72, so go ahead and bet on the over, and he tells everybody, hey, I'm not going to shoot 70 today, and it all gets bet at Kalshi, and everybody makes money, and then it's like, well, technically, that's not illegal, because there's a gray area about what exactly is insider trading when it comes to prediction markets. It's not the same as sports gambling. It's dictated differently. The CFTC's got a different jurisdiction, and there's not the same policing that goes on in the watch. Do you get my point here? Like this, we're getting away from what actually happened when we legalized sports betting. We're getting into a place where now we got big, big problems. And the cat is not just out of the bag. Like the cat is spawning and the spawns are spawning. And we've got like too many cats now. And we don't know how to go get them. And we don't know who's in charge of picking them up. And the pound is full and we're in trouble. Because the government has literally proven that they are not interested. Because here's the real problem. And this happened a couple of days ago. The government might be in on it. I mean, our government might be in on it. Not just the Donald Trump Jr. is a Polymarket and Kalshi executive and consultant. Okay. I'm not talking about that because that's true. He's on the board of both Polymarket and Kalshi, the president's son. This story is awful. This happened last week at the White House press briefing, in which you could have bet how long the press briefing was going to go. 98% chance of running over 65 minutes. But if you watched that press conference, and Caroline Leavitt, who is the press secretary, she looks up when she gets into the 65th minute. She looks up at somebody in the room, and somebody did some motion. Somebody told her, because she's in the middle of a sentence. She's talking and she abruptly changes and switches, closes her notebook and walks off. The traders who were on the under for the White House press briefing made 50 times their investment in seconds. She left with 27 seconds to spare, 50 times your money. It had a 98% chance of running over 65. And here we go where we have the look. And I'm not saying it's guaranteed. I'm not saying anyone's in this. But if I'm involved in the White House press briefing, I may have an idea as to how long they think the White House press briefing is going to go. And if the under is 50-1, and you can control the under, and you have the ability to tell Caroline Leavitt to walk off the stage when you're in the 65th minute, do not go over 65 minutes. As long as you go for 64 minutes and 32 seconds, which is what she did, you can clearly see on your screen, you can clearly see that that's how long she went. 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 32 or 33 seconds, depending on when your stopwatch pops. That 98% of the money was on the over, and it was 50-1 on the under. And that happened. Can we control this? I don't know if we can control this. We're betting on stupid stuff. We're allowing betting on dumb things. Things that should not be bet on, we are allowing consistently. And we're all fine with it. Everything. Bet on anything. The amount of improper things happening on a daily basis in this country when it comes to gambling, we have no idea what actually is happening. That looks as crooked can be. Can you actually have an investigation when Donald Trump Jr. is on the board of both? Are they even interested in this? Like, the grift is right in front of us and there's no one to go to. There's nobody to complain to. There's no watchdog. The CFTC has no interest, zero interest. You think the government, the FBI, you think anybody's going to go and investigate what's going on here? How much money just changed hands in seconds? This is where sports gambling gets to be made illegal. If we have multiple, massive, widespread, incredible investigations that out all sorts of organized crime and all sorts of illegal activity that goes to the highest office in the land, that goes through every single major FBI and every CIA, our whole government, everyone who's supposed to be the watchdog and the policing of all this. You want to put the genie back in the bottle? This is how we make sports betting illegal again, when all gambling gets cut off because of the actions of some people who are enriching themselves right in broad daylight, and nobody is paying attention. This is not what sports betting was supposed to be. At the end of the day, this is not what we were supposed to have with sports gambling. The public is rapidly getting sick of us, and they're getting sick of things on their screens. They're getting sick of having it being thrown down their throats, and you're having, every single talking head. Rob Gronkowski. Do I need Gronk to give me a parlay? No. Right? Because the only real big marketing scheme right now in sports betting is by going out there and trying to get people to bet a 4-leg parlay. Every single marketing play is, here's my same game parlay. Here's my this. Here's my lottery ticket, my $5 bet to win 500, right? Every single person is doing this. Well, it's easier to bet on a prediction market when you know the answer, when you have it already figured out, when you know who wins. If you know who wins best picture, it's easier to go and bet that. It's not gambling then. Now it's easy. If you want to cause us to all have to deal with the black market again, which I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think we're heading that way unless we stop this and actually put some guardrails up pretty damn quick as to what's happening with betting, with sports betting, gambling, advertising, and with these prediction market companies. There is no rule right now. These are big, very high volume, liquid markets that are going very fast. Most of the money made by Kalshi, most money every month, is in the sports market. But they are making money in other places. They are making money in Polymarket, is making money in other places, like White House press briefings, like the Golden Globes. And people will start to bet more and more into that. But they're going to ask a question. Is this on the up and up? Is this legitimate? Is what am I betting into fair? And I don't know. I honest to God can't answer the question. It's just every time we go through this and we watch this and we start looking at these things. I will say this. Let's say Kalshi's right. Patriots 14% against the Seahawks. Maybe there is some silver lining here with Kalshi if they are right with the Patriots and the Seahawks. Bills and the Seahawks, Broncos and the Seahawks. If you're a Seahawks fan, or you're someone like me and have a 14-1 ticket on the Seahawks in this to win the Super Bowl, you like what's going on there. Patriots, Rams, 11-1. Those are two teams I think Patriot fans would sign up for again. So maybe, hey, we'll see if they're right. We'll see if they're wrong. This stuff, I think people are kind of okay with. The other stuff, they are not. But we got to get our hands around this quickly. Because right now, this is not good. Right now, we are in a world that I don't know how we get out of it until the government decides that they actually want to and not be a part of it. Because right now, our government appears to be very much complicit in what's going on in the prediction market and sports betting worlds. They're perfectly comfortable with where we're going and how fast we're getting there, which is not good. Let's talk about what happened last night. All right, Mike Tomlin steps down as the head coach of the Steelers. This was in bonus time yesterday when the story broke and the now former coach of the Steelers resigned, meaning that if a team wants him as their head coach next year, they have to negotiate a trade with Mike Tomlin. Now, since the story broke yesterday, it appears that Mike Tomlin is looking to work in television, and I think that's a great place for him to be for a bit. He wants to take some time away from football and then contemplate his next decision, which I think is very smart, very similar to what Sean Payton did. Sean Payton stepped away, did some other things, TV and whatnot, and then got the job he wanted with the Broncos. I think there's probably a couple of jobs he does want. By reports, he wants to go somewhere warm. Don't blame him at all with that, given being in Pittsburgh for 19 years. The Dolphins appear to be a team that are interested in him, but he may not want to coach next year, and he may take the year off, which I think would be a good decision on his part to do that. That now leaves us with 9 jobs that are open in the NFL. And so the question would be, what's the best job available in the NFL? Where does the Steeler job rank of the 9 jobs that are open? Where would you put the Steeler job? And I think there's a lot of people who are going to have to deal with the idea that their team is not coveted. Their job is not coveted. I mean, frankly, the Cardinals and the Browns job is not coveted. I think they're going to have to wait until this entire carousel gets rolling before they find who wants their job. It's going to have to be most likely a coordinator who's unproven or somebody who is unwanted with a head coaching resume. Because John Harbaugh is going to coach next year. He is the most coveted. The Giants' job, by most people's opinion, is a very good job. I disagree with that, but they do have tremendous talent. If you want to win right away, having the Giants' job is great. I just think you're walking into a marketplace that has no patience with an ownership group that is a bit on the downward slide in terms of paying attention to what they're going to do to be successful. And this is not easy. The division's not going to be easy. You have the Eagles and the Cowboys in your division, and the Commanders have Jaden Daniels, who should be healthy and back next year. So it's not an easy division to walk into the NFC East, let alone what's going on in the NFC West. So I'm not sure I would want to be volunteering to join the NFC if I have an option not to. I would much rather coach the Miami Dolphins. Location, division, ownership. I think the Dolphin job is pretty popular. But if you want to be an architect and you want to build, there's no better place than the Raiders. I mean, the Raider job, I still think is a tremendous job for the right person, because you have the number 1 pick in the draft. You have a ton of cap space. You have an owner who is completely hands off, and Tom Brady out there to negotiate and or recruit for you. Plus, you have the lifestyle of Las Vegas and a state with no income tax. So, I mean, I think the Raider job is tremendous. I put it at number 2, right behind the Ravens job. I think the Ravens job is the best job that's available at the moment, and that's just because of Lamar Jackson. Like, you have a chance to coach an all-time great. And in this league, you must have a quarterback. And the Ravens have a quarterback. So if you have a 2-time MVP quarterback and you have a really good defense at times with talent, you got to be coached up, obviously, but there's Derrick Henry and there's a lot of offensive talent, a lot of defensive talent on that roster, plus a very up in the air division. The Browns will have a new head coach. The Steelers will have a new head coach. Obviously, the Ravens will have a new head coach, and Zach Taylor can't coach unless he has a healthy Joe Burrow. And there's a big question as to whether or not Joe Burrow will ever be healthy for an entire season again, because he keeps on getting hurt over and over again. So the Bengals have to feel pretty good about their spot. They have a returning head coach, and that maybe is why Zach Taylor kept his job, because the Brown family feels like they want consistency, and there's 1 year left on Zach Taylor's contract, so let him coach out this year, and then if Zach Taylor doesn't work, you can go ahead and make a move, and you can replace him. But in 2027, we may have an entirely new division of head coaches in the AFC North. But if I'm a middle of the pack, and I think Miami kind of falls into that category. I mean, when do the Titans get a head coach? Like that's the Cardinals, the Titans, the Browns. They're going to be picking at the bottom of the list as to who's going to be there. And I think it's going to be really hard for those franchises to have to find the right guy, because there are some big name coaches that are out there. Obviously, the John Harbaugh situation has to be rectified first. That's the first domino, right? So I think you're going to have a announcement at some point in the next week. I would be surprised if John Harbaugh is not hired by the Giants in the next week. That appears to be all of the smoke. That appears to be all the conversation. But Kevin Stefanski is a really good coach. People don't like him because of the stink of the Cleveland Browns that's on him, but he was a 2-time AP Coach of the Year award winner in Cleveland, in Cleveland with the Browns, and not the old Browns, but the new Browns, the expansion version. So I think he's a guy that if I'm, let's say Mike Tomlin really is not going to coach next year. So Tomlin's out. I think the number 2 option is Kevin Stefanski. So if you're the Raiders, if you are the Dolphins, I think you instantly go and try to hire Kevin Stefanski if Mike Tomlin is not going to take interviews or wants to coach. So Harbaugh goes to the Giants, then it's a fight for Kevin Stefanski. Now, where does he wind up going? I think Miami's probably a decent shot for him to wind up there. If he goes to Miami, then you've got the Kubiaks of the world. Then you've got the Brian Floreses of the world, the Brian Dabbles of the world. I mean, there are a lot of retreads. The Brian Dabble and Brian Flores is a retread, guys who have been head coaches. It hasn't worked. They both are coveted minds, either offensive or defensive guys. But the coordinator situation is thin. There's not a Ben Johnson out there. Do you want to go and take on the risk of a Cliff Kingsbury? Like, did you want to give him another shot? It didn't work in Arizona at all. He went to Washington. He flamed out in Washington. Now, is that Dan Quinn just not being able to handle the personality? Whatever it might be, but he flamed out in Washington. So now what do you do? I think that there's issues. Look, I'm not sure what Stefanski is, but he is a 2-time AP Coach of the Year winner. Okay. He did do big things with Cleveland. So I think there's a lot of coaches out there that are better coordinators than they are head coaches. It's hard to be a CEO. It's hard to have your hands in everything, right? It's difficult. Josh McDaniels is a Hall of Fame offensive mind. He is one of the best OCs in the last 30 years in the NFL, and he's one of the worst head coaches we've ever seen in the NFL. He's horrible, but he's an awesome OC. Brian Flores has completely flourished as the DC in Minnesota. The Vikings defense has been great underneath him, but as a head coach, things went so poorly for him that he has a lawsuit still pending for discrimination against the Miami Dolphins in the NFL. Like, things got so bad for Brian Flores, he sued. So, maybe, you're going to give him a shot. You want to hire him and put him back in charge of a franchise? Same thing with Brian Dabble. Brian Dabble, I told you guys in August, Brian Dabble was not going to make it to the Thanksgiving with the Giants. It wasn't going to happen. I said playing a rookie quarterback basically guaranteed my bet of under 5.5 wins to cash for the Giants because the roster was poorly constructed. The season was scheduled so brutally for the Giants. They had an absolute brutal schedule. And if they played a rookie, good luck. Whether it be Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson, either quarterback would have been better for the Giants if they wanted to attempt to win. But Dabble was trying to save his job, so he played a rookie, and things didn't go well. Right? Jackson Dart was good at home. He sucked on the road. He came on wowed everybody. I'm not exactly sure what he'll look like going forward, but he's at least a piece. Cam Scatterbo is a guy that I think every roster would love to have. How long his career will be, who knows? He's a battering ram, and those guys don't hang around very long. You have Malik Neighbors, who's going to come back off of a knee injury. He was an electric talent, but what will he look like after that injury? I don't know. But is Dabble a head coach, or is he just a guy who got popular because of Tom Brady and Josh Allen? So, there are so many coaches that are out there at the moment that don't really fit. Robert Saleh, defensive mind in San Francisco, has been doing great things under Kyle Shanahan. And his name is being floated around about being a potential head coach. He didn't work. When he was a head coach with the Jets, that didn't work. That was a disaster. Now you can say it's the Jets. Sure, everyone's a disaster. Aaron Glenn is a disaster with the Jets. But it's still, is it the coach or the organization? It's hard to know, but you want to hand the keys over to Robert Saleh? I'm not doing that. I'm not jumping up and down about that. So there's just so many issues right now. There's 9 jobs open of the 32 in the NFL. 9. Like, that is crazy. And Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh are not head coaches at the moment in the NFL. That's bizarre. Like, that's crazy with how good of coaches those two guys are as head coaches. They aren't coordinators. Those are head coach, CEO, leader of men type hires. And we don't know what John Harbaugh is going to do. He's doing what I would do too. He's the top target. He's the top guy. And there were reports out of Cleveland. He wants $20 million a year. Whatever job he goes to, he wants $20 million a year to coach. And he wants a pool of $10 million for his coaches, for his assistant coaches. So that's what I would do too if I was Harbaugh. There's 9 jobs. You're the number one guy. Go get the best offer possible and see which owner will give you a dumb amount of money to run their franchise. And the Giants have it. Most NFL franchises have it. And it's very rare to have the opportunity to hire a guy of the quality of John Harbaugh to be your head coach. I can't wait to see what happens. Yes, Zach Taylor is. Yes, he is LOL. 100%. Stefanski did run Baker Mayfield out of town. Yeah, he did do that. You're right. And frankly, he had a very poor relationship with numerous quarterbacks during his time. You're right. I mean, Deshaun Watson, you could make the case that if Deshaun Watson wasn't a degenerate, wasn't a deviant, that was the guy, right? That was the guy that was supposed to take the Browns, back to prominence or to prominence. And unfortunately, everything unfolded there. And so like that, he was dealt a really nasty hand. He was able to navigate that and take the franchise through all of that. I think that guy deserves credit for what he had to endure with all of that. But I mean, the chat's bringing up Marcus Freeman, head coach of the Irish in Notre Dame. I'll say this. In college right now, if you're going to make 10 to 12 million a year, which is what the top coaches are going to make, and starting next year, Kirk Cignetti at Indiana will make $12.5 million a year at Indiana. So Notre Dame is going to have to come up with some serious dollars. We're talking 12, 13, 14, 15 million a year to pay. I'd rather be in college than the NFL. If I'm a young guy with a young family, college in a college town where I don't have to worry about my job, like the NFL is feast or famine, right? I mean, the NFL, you can be there and you can be a dominant force and you can make a ton of money in a big market and dominate in so many different phases. But college, even with the NIL, even with the transfer portal, sure, it's annoying. Sure, it's frustrating for the older guys who are used to developing talent with young people, who are used to taking a kid from a freshman in high school and then, developing him for 5 years and then having him be on your program for 2 or 3 years and then going to the NFL. That's a 6-year relationship, 7-year relationship. That stuff is gone now. You're not having that anymore. The kid's parents are asking you, how much money are you going to pay our kid? And it's a year-to-year type thing. Kids are entering free agency, literally, and shopping themselves and jumping around. But Marcus Freeman's a young guy. So he's adaptable and he's able to, slide around and figure things out. And he is at Notre Dame with deep pockets, with deep NIL. I mean, the richest fan base in college football is Notre Dame. So if they want somebody, they really should not be outbid for that player's services. So not a bad place to be, to stay in college, to be quite honest. I get where Freeman's coming from, sticking around just where everything is, because it's not great. What also happened last night? How about this? Kansas, for just the 4th time in recent memory, was a home dog in a conference game. They were catching 3.5 or 4 points as number 2 Iowa State, which was undefeated before that game, walked into Fog Allen. I bet Iowa State because I thought this Kansas team, not the same. Whoops. Dead wrong. Worst bet of 2026 so far for me was backing Iowa State, the number 2 team in the country, on the road at Fog Allen. I knew better. I knew better. Don't fade KU at home, and KU catching points should have been an auto bet. They really should have been. You just don't get a chance to take points with Kansas at home. And they reminded everybody of why Fog Allen is one of the harder places in the entire world to go on the road and win. They don't lose under Bill Self at home. They don't lose at Fog Allen really ever. And they kicked the living tar out of Iowa State yesterday. TJ Otzelberger, they had no answer out of the gate. It was like 44-16 to start that game. I think it was over in the first 10 minutes. That was not a contest. That was an absolute butt kicking in every facet as to what KU did to Iowa State last night. And it's a big brother, little brother reminder. We don't care what ranking you are. We don't care how many games you've won. You are still Iowa State and we are still Kansas. And you're not coming into our place. You're not going to be favored and you're not winning. In fact, we're going to knock you senseless. That's just one of those things. That was a mistake. That's just one of those things where you're like, man, I knew that was a dumb play. Like I looking back on it, hindsight's 2020, but I really did like the Iowa State team. And I really thought this Iowa State team was going to be different. I thought this Iowa State team was going to walk into Fog Allen and do something special. I thought this Iowa State team had something to say, you know what? This is one of our bigger games of the year to go and win at Fog Allen. We are special. We are different. No, they are not. They are not special and they are not different. They are just like so many other Cyclone teams that went down there and got smacked. Brooke in the chat saying the Huskers went duck hunting last night. You know that's against Dana though, right? I mean, like it's good. I mean, I again, stay undefeated, win your games. Dana's from Nebraska, Coach Altman from Nebraska, Coach out Oregon. A lot of people come in to watch that game. You know, a lot of people are psyched to watch Oregon play, but like you get Nebraska's attention and Hoiberg and Altman have history and like there's, you know, I should have been that. I should have been on the Huskers last night, but I just don't believe in Nebraska. I'm sorry. I just don't believe in that team yet. And I should. It's kind of how I was with Miami all year. I bet against Miami all year. Was wrong about that. I bet against Indiana for all the playoffs. I bet against Indiana. I've been wrong there. There's just certain teams I just don't see very well. The college ranks just are right now for me. I've been so locked in on the NFL and done so well in the NFL that everything college-wise has been crap. College basketball, college football has been crap. The NFL has saved my butt, but that's just the way that it goes for me. I'm either great in the pros and bad in college or vice versa when it comes to betting. And the NFL has been good. So, you know, we'll see how it all plays out for the rest of the college basketball season. But there are some interesting things happening in college basketball that don't make a ton of sense, to be quite honest. Let's make a bet before we let go of Sports Grid. Just the Picks being brought to you by the Betting Pros Prop Bet Cheat Sheet. Check it out for the NBA games tonight. bettingpros.com/props or download the Betting Pros app for it. I like Utah and Texas Tech to go under 160.5. Utah is 10-0 at home to the over, but they're 4-2 to the under on the road. And Texas Tech's defense, they're favored by 17.5 points. I don't think Utah is going to score enough. They shoot way differently on the road than they do at home. And I think Texas Tech's defense is going to shut down Utah. I don't think we go over 160.5 in this game. KenPom has this at 157. So we've got a couple, 3 points or so off the KenPom projection. But unless Texas Tech just goes nuclear against Utah and scores a ton of points, I think we're going under. I'm going to play the under for Utah and Texas Tech tonight in college basketball, under 160.5. for the play of the day here for us. If you guys are watching live, don't move. Bonus time coming up. If you're on Sports Grid on the replay, thank you for being here. We're back tomorrow for a Bet Chris Arizona Thursday. Adam Bjorn is going to be overseas. I know where he is. I've been talking with him, but he's going to be in a very exotic location. In fact, a location that I will be in April. I am going there in April. He is there now. We will get to him tomorrow on the programs you're watching on Sports Grid. Thank you. More back tomorrow, 1 a.m. Eastern time, 10 o'clock Pacific time. But for you guys who are live, don't move. The line is 59.5. What you mean 159.5? Okay, so it's coming down a bit on that. Yeah, I mean the under is a play. I mean I think the under is the side on that game, but we'll see what's going to happen. Creator Market and Kalshi, where Adam is. I'd clean up. Yep, that's true. I got insider knowledge, insider information as to where Adam Bjorn will be. I know where he will be. No, I'm not going to Egypt. Adam Bjorn's not in Egypt. But if you are a sports betting person or a gambling person, you know where he is, because a lot of people have gotten on planes to go fly to this very nice location, to where one of the larger conventions in the sports and gambling world is happening. So Adam will be coming up for that. He'll be there coming tomorrow for us. Time for the news of the industry. All right, news of the industry. The World Cup is set to start in the North American region. It's the U.S., but it's North America. It is going to start here in the month of July, or late June, July. And every year, we have the same conversation. Whenever the World Cup comes along, whenever it is on the docket, it's the same conversation. Will Americans finally bet on soccer? Study out from our friends who are writing about it. Brett James from ingame.com. The 2026 World Cup will not make Americans long-term soccer bettors, even though they are expected to bet millions and millions on the upcoming World Cup. It'll spike with the event in North America, but Optimove made an analysis, did a survey, and they kicked it out that said it will be a big bet industry, a big bet event for the World Cup. But people will not bet on soccer afterwards, which is very, I mean, this is not shocking, right? I mean, this is the World Cup being in America will be something that we all will watch. We will talk about. But if you're asking me, as somebody who does sports betting content for a living, am I going to go and bet English Premier League soccer? Am I going to learn about the differences between the Premier League and the Champions League? No. Am I going to go learn about the Bundesliga versus what's happening in other parts of the world? No. Am I going to go learn about MLS? No. We're just not going to do it. We're just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I can tell you right now. Will I be betting on the World Cup? Of course. Will I bet on USA matches? Of course. Yes. I like soccer. I have always been a fan. It was the sport that I was the best at. It was the sport that I was given opportunities, scholarship-wise, to play in college. I didn't want to. I didn't like it enough. The sports that I was the best at were the sports I didn't like very much. I loved baseball. I loved basketball. I wasn't college good in either basketball or baseball. I was college good in track, in running, and in soccer. And I was recruited to do all three if I wanted to. And I was not interested in running during my college years. And so I quit. And I said, I'm good. I don't want to do any of this. But I still appreciate the beauty of the sport. I still appreciate the athletes and the technical skill it needs to be a high-level soccer player. The ability to run 5 to 10 miles during a game. I was a physical player. I was a very emotional player, shocking. And I was a stopper. I was a guy that was willing to give up my body. And I was a guy that was diving on the ground and slide tackling. And I was very good in the air. I was good at clearing, and I was good at taking out people who were in the air. I got hurt numerous times. I've told stories about my wrist and my wrist being screwed up for the rest of my life from a soccer injury that I suffered. It happens. But to me, I think people who like betting soccer, I don't mean, yeah, see, you guys are, I don't want to say you guys are like, the cult word becomes an insult. I'm not trying to say you are a cult. I'm just saying that you are a niche tribe of people who exist in the 10% of the betting world. Like there's 90% of bettors in America who do not bet soccer, who do not pay attention to soccer. There is a 10% core audience, and you guys are ferociously interested in it. Like you guys are obsessed. You get up early in the morning, you watch overseas, you argue in different chat rooms and Discord channels, and you have a very strong opinion on like it is a core, it is a passionate base. And in certain cities in America, Kansas City, Portland, like Chicago, like there's just certain cities that have that fan base that is incredibly passionate. I've really never met a New England Revolution fan, but I know people that go to their games and obsess over their games, that love their games, that find it. I've never been, never even thought in my mind to go to a Revolution game. Like they've been good. They've been really good, but oh, you're kidding me. Is that true-ish? Oh, I'm breaking news. Kayla Harrison is out of next week's title fight against Amanda Nunes. You've got to be kidding me. I'm covering this event. I'm going to UFC 364. Oh, that is brutal. We'll pause the soccer conversation for just a second. That is brutal. Well, why would be my question. Why is she out of that? Oh, that just, man. These are the fights that the UFC, you need this type of thing to happen. Like you can't have this be scrapped. Adam Thielen is retiring. There's some other breaking news on this. I don't see the tweet yet from ESPN. So you're telling me the ESPN notification came out that Kayla is out? I haven't seen this from, let's see, MMA Fighting have it. All right, well, I don't see this yet. Oh, there it is. Okay. Multiple reports have surfaced that Kayla Harrison is out of UFC 324 for the co-main event due to a neck injury she suffered. It's been postponed to a later date. So UFC 324, sorry, this said 64, 324. Bantamweight champion Kayla Harrison is out of her fight against Amanda Nunes, suffering an injury in training that will require surgery. According to the Eagle Tribune, which is based in Lawrence, Massachusetts, Bill Burt, I know Bill. Bill Burt, what? Bill Burt broke this story? Oh my, how about that? My hometown paper broke this story. This is the Lawrence Eagle Tribune. This is the paper route I had as a kid. That's crazy. Wow, how about that? My first ever job was to deliver the Lawrence Eagle Tribune. Bill Burt is the one breaking this. The highly anticipated showdown between Amanda Nunes and Kayla Harrison set for January 24th at UFC 324 in Las Vegas. Touted as the most significant women's fight in history, officially postponed for at least 6 months. According to a source with knowledge to the situation, Harrison, the reigning UFC women's bantamweight champion, underwent surgery in New York on Tuesday to repair a herniated disc in her neck. The surgery came after Harrison flew to New York last weekend to consult UFC doctors who recommended the procedure. The setback comes just as the sport was gearing up for a historic clash. Nunes, often called the greatest women's MMA fighter of all time, had just come out of retirement specifically to face Harrison. Nunes, a native of Brazil, retired following her June 2023 win, but said she was drawn back to competition by the prospect of facing Harrison. Well, here's the question. So the main event is Gaethje against Pimlet, right? That's for the interim lightweight title. But it was the co-main. Nunes is not going to fight. I mean, yes, this is the first fight on Paramount. Absolutely. This was the first kickoff. That sucks, man. That fight that was the buzz. I mean, look, Justin Gaethje against Paddy Pimblett is fun, and I like that fight a lot, but it's Gaethje's on his way out. Gaethje said, either I fight for this title or I'm out. Gaethje says if he loses this fight, he's done. He's going to retire. Like, this is it for him. He wants a belt. He's never had a belt. Gaethje wants a belt. So, like, I understand all of it in terms of where Gaethje is, but that's not the fight that people were drawn to. The fight people were drawn to was Harrison Nunes. And to come out of the gate on Paramount Plus for your first big event, they just raised the price to $90 a year for Paramount Plus so you can actually watch the UFC. So they're raising the price tag after saying, pay-per-view is dead and whatnot. Now they're going to charge you, a third more than what in the last year's price was for Paramount Plus. And you go and you have this fight, which was supposed to be, that was the fight of the card. That was supposed to be the draw, to watch these two women and Nunes coming back in order to fight Harrison. And now Harrison is out for 6 months minimum with a neck injury, and there's no guarantee that she's even able to go through with the fight in 6 months. Brutal. That is brutal. I really wonder to see what happens to the card now. Who gets elevated? What do they do to add? If you go back through history would tell you that there would be some level of, Nunes won't fight. There's no way she'll fight. I'm with Josephine Myers. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to add anybody. They got to add a better fight. They need more for that card. They need more than just what they've got. Gaethje and Pimblett is great, but Sean O'Malley against Sung Yadong, I guess that you could make that your co-main if you wanted to. Derek Lewis is on this card. Rose Namajunas is on this card. Umar Nurmagomedov is on this card. It's a fight fans card. I'm not going to deny. If you like MMA, there's a lot of big names on this, a lot of good names on this card, but there's not a casual fan draw. The women's bantamweight championship, it was the co-main, but it really was the main. Like, that was the fight. So what do you do? Do you add an interim belt fight? Do you do something? Whew. That's a bad break. That sucks. And I don't Nunes versus Jake Paul. Ugly. Dang. That I was so excited to watch that fight. I'm going to the card. I'm covering it. I'm still going, but I really wanted to watch. I hadn't seen Amanda fight in a long time. Nobody has since 2023. And I'd only seen Kayla Harrison fight one time, and she mauled the opponent that she saw. I went to the fight. Which fight did I see her for Kayla Harrison? Which card? Let's see. It must have been, I think it was the Juliana Pena fight when she mauled her in the second round, right? Nope, that was in Newark. I wasn't there for that. Must have been, nope, that was in Salt Lake City. Was it her first fight? Oh, it was a Holly Holm fight. That's what it was. Okay. That was when she mauled Holly Holm. That was the fight that I saw. She choked her out in the second round. Yeah. Okay. That was the Pereira Hill UFC 300 in April of 24. Yeah. So I've only seen her fight once. Whew. That's too bad. That's too bad. Oh, well. On to see if that fight ever happens. That fight ever happening, that was very much a question. Okay, favorite thing about today, just to kind of circle back as to what we talked about at the open of the show with our announcement that we're going to the Super Bowl. Looking forward to Thursday and Friday live. Wednesday will be a TV to be determined, as I'll travel on Wednesday up. We'll do something from Radio Row. What exactly, I don't know yet. Either a Twitter Spaces or some type of Discord space, some conversation, but it's happening on the week of the Super Bowl. We'll be in San Francisco live Thursday with Adam Bjorn for BetChris Arizona live. And then Friday, there very well may be a co-host on Friday as well. We're still efforting to figure that out. So that's going to happen Thursday and Friday live. We'll do two-hour shows from Radio Row as BVB for a fourth time. We'll be broadcasting live from Super Bowl Radio Row, this time happening in San Francisco. Looking forward to all of that happening coming up here. And like I mentioned, the last week of January, you're going to get, the show won't be live Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but you will get a video on demand version of BVB on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go and do so you'll be able to be notified when those videos will drop a week from this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So not next week, but the week after, the bye week between the championship games and the Super Bowl is when that's going to happen, when I'm headed to New Orleans. But you will get a fresh episode of BVB. It just won't be live. So there will be an episode, 3 episodes. It just won't be live for us with BVB. We will be live tomorrow. Where in the world will Adam Bjorn be? I do know, but he'll join us. Bet Chris Arizona Thursday hits you 1 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow for a Thursday's episode of BVB.